Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today is a new day, and I say that because last night I was walking up to the garage and had the fancy lights on. It's gleaming down on a stale project, and I'm like, why do I have a 30-foot truck in the garage and I'm not even working on it? Well, life happens if you don't understand that. Life does happen. So life happened. So the thing is, views were not paying the bills here or building a truck. So that's what took me into the affiliate marketing, and that's something that I've always loved, tools. So that help bridge the gap of being able to work on my project, but at the same time have some tools to work with and pass that along to you guys. So that's my goal in that, is to be honest with you guys and let you know where I stand on the tools and the different consumables that I receive and also use. Some are paid for, some are free samples. So with that, the bottom line is you're getting an honest review from me. So that's off the top. I just want to thank you for that. It means a lot for you guys following along in that transition. Almost cried. And following along in that transition. So this is the point now that I want to pick up where I left off, and basically where that started was a 61 GMC 5000 setting on about a 20-foot frame. So that being a heavy duty 2.5 ton truck, I decided I wanted something lower, longer, a lot more options when it comes to brake, gearing, the 9 yards. So found an 86 GM motorhome chassis, pulled the cab off of it in separate pieces because I had no way to lift it up all at one time. Got the cab mounts, got the core support built for it, transmission cross member, 6-liter in it, the MD 4500 in it. So now it's at the point that the front end is pretty much together other than a few bump stops. So that and some shocks and little small doodads like some lines and plumbing. But for the most part, the heartbeat is there. So that took me toward the rear of the truck, and I made a mess of myself. It had an angle iron on the top of it. It had braces. There was so much stuff on it, it was unreal. So I worked on it, I don't know, forever it felt like. But then I got just burned out. So now I'm at the point, reset, you walk away, you come back with a fresh start until you get burned out again. That's where we're at now. So basically from right here to here is clean on the top and the side rail. And from here to here, I've got some cleaning to do on the different welds and things are left behind. But from this point here, there's actually an inside liner in the frame rail from here 6 feet back to this point here. And as you notice here, I've got this notch here in the frame, so that's something I'll have to fill that. But what my goal is, I'm almost there. I've got the top rivets out, the side rivets out. There's a couple in the bottom. Get this cross member here out. This one is probably fine. So at that point, I can actually pull these liners out and get the frame rail good and clean inside and outside. But the liner where it stops right here prior to this opening or notch, that was probably for the plumbing of the RV because that's what it was before. So at that point, I'll take some other 3/16 plate that I've got down there and hopefully make a U shape to mimic this inside liner to finish that liner out to the end of the rail. So basically where it drops down from I believe it was a 7 1/4 down to a 4 1/2 here, that liner is going to stretch from that transition all the way to the back. And then I'll have to decide if I'm going to arch it off with the dovetail style. I'm almost there, but right now this is the focus, squirrel chasing. Here we go. So what I want to do is bridge the gap here. So this is something that I feel like I'm a little bit more balanced now. I'm basically separated for the most part. Burks Unlimited is the review page, and Burks Garage is going to be my build and the hobbies. So something that if you guys want to follow along, no matter if it's on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Burks Garage or Burks Unlimited. So at that point, depending on if you're looking at reviews or if you're looking at, am I making progress here when it comes down to it? So I've separated that. Hopefully I can keep that somewhat separated, but I may have some fun here and there when I start doing little stitches and things, sharing that with both pages, just because I find it's comical. So where we're at today is I'm going to talk to both of you guys, Burks Unlimited, Burks Garage. So what we're going to do is look at ways to, obviously you can take a blaster and you can laser, but not everybody's got deep pockets and not everybody's got a way to pull it outside and let it sit. No, so I'm just going to take my time with it. It's not going anywhere. It's not eating anything except for my brain. So I'm going to take some buffing disc, and I'm going to take some cutting disc and probably some other type of consumables, and we're going to get this frame rail cleaned up and prepped. And at that point, we should be able to start adding some 4 links and bars. And Chucky's chop shop is going to help me out with a lot of that there as well. So we've got some different ideas and irons in the fire, but when it comes down to it, this right here is waiting on me. It's waiting on me. So this right here today is a starting point. I want to show you the different consumables that I'm going to start with and a couple of different variations. And for the most part, we're talking about electric 4.5-inch grinder. So come over here for a minute. So I've got a few of the consumables laid out here. And what we've done is moving from a less aggressive over toward a more aggressive. So if we look over here, we've got basically paint stripping wheels, and they've got a different density. And this right here fits on a 4.5-inch grinder with your little, nut that locks it into place there. So you got 3 different versions of that right there. And then you can step into an inexpensive flat disc. And the thing that you notice about these is they're pretty shallow or pretty thin. And that right there is going to take the time on it, put it to the test. And that right there is where it's going to fail before something that's a little bit more quality. But at the end of the day, when you're talking $1 a piece or something, these are not a bad deal. So I've used these right here on the frame rail, and you can see that it's still got some grit to it, but it's not gonna last very long. But my favorite here is moving over into the EZARC brand. And we're talking, they've got individual packs or they've got 20 packs. That's what we're looking at back here is a 20 pack. And this included the 40 grit, start over here, a 40 grit, 60 grit, and an 80, along with a 120 grit. So there's different amounts, but it totals 20 of that EZARC line. And that's where you start noticing the difference of the thickness, if you can tell about that. So trust me on that, the thickness is thicker when it comes to the EZARC brand. And this right here is a 120, comparing that to an 80 grit. So that's another difference. So this right here, I've used them several times, and hey, they're right on time. So then you can move over into things that are like a cutting disc or a grinding disc, and this can be a 2-pack or a 5-pack. But the neat thing about these, I started out with a 5-pack, but I've only used one, and I've used it and burnt, but it's not going away. And when they claim 5,000 cuts per blade, I believe it, but we're far from that point. So the thing that I'm pretty excited about is the transfer from this Zirconia style flat disc, which is a T29, trying out EZARC's new flat disc that's an 80 grit, but this is a ceramic. This right here actually threads onto the grinder, unlike the other flat disc that you still use the nut with that. They're about the same thickness as the Zirconia, maybe a little bit thicker, but being ceramic, this is what I'm excited about. So this is what I have the most of. So this right here is going to be my starting point when we start cleaning on this frame rail. So that I'm pretty excited about, but at the end of the day, we're gonna try the ceramic, we're gonna try the Zirconia, as well as the, Now, these right here, we probably don't have any use for them right now, but if you're looking to pull paint off of wood, fiberglass, metal, other different materials without being too aggressive with it, these right here are ideal. So the other thing to address is, having proper PPE. And so you got your gloves here, you've got your earplugs, you've got safety glasses. Face shield is ideal. With that one, I don't know if it's safer to use that face shield or without. So that one, I sandblasted in it. I don't even know if you could polish that back out, but for $15, I think I'll buy a new one. But this Zirconia flat disc, this is what I'm pretty excited about. 4.5-inch, and that's several to be able to polish it, starting with the 80 grit, get it cleaned up, then move into a 120 DA, so forth, and get it ready for paint. So I'm not going to bore you so much today with actually diving into it. We've got everything set up, we're prepped, we're ready, we're mentally there. Hey, it's been 100 degrees. There was a couple days, it was 115 degrees in here. There's no way I was working on it. But today we're talking close to about 90, so the temperature's dropping down. Things are looking great, as far as the bridge between the two, and I feel pretty confident about it because at the end of the day, I want this truck. I really want this truck. So, you probably got my vision already, but just a quick rundown. I want to put some pretty decent stacks on it. We want the running boards. We're bringing the running boards back, extending them out into the bed and link. So there's some things in the making, but what we got to do first is just like a ladder, one step right after another, one rung at a time. And that first rung is me getting on the spring rail and doing some cleaning for about 3 or 4 feet. Get that section done, and then I can move forward into that liner and go ahead and finish that out. So again, I just want to thank you guys for coming along, checking it out, following the page. Hey, this is something that I really enjoy it. I want to spend a lot more time with it. I'd like to hear from you guys on different tricks, tips, ideas, you know, things that you feel that'd be, I don't know, I'm receptive, you know, I'm welcoming your ideas. So I want to thank you much for the follow along, and I look forward to it. So let's move into step 3. Thanks again, guys.